Today's paper.
This is Terry Cringle, and today's paper is The Manx Sun of Saturday, October the 27th, 1855. This is a newspaper which ceased publication in 1906, and the imprint on the copy before us says it was printed and published by Peter Curfey at number 13 King Street, Douglas. We would have paid 3 pence for it. And in it we find the front page chock full of news. But not Manx news. A lot of it gives details of what was happening in the Crimean War, mostly consisting of reports by British military commanders and the correspondents of London newspapers covering the conflict. It seems the Manx Sun of the mid-19th century gave its readers world news as a priority, largely culled, I suspect, from whatever UK newspapers came to the island. Local news was given a pretty low priority throughout the paper, but when we reach page 4, there we find it. A single column of short paragraphs, starting with Deemster Drinkwater held a summary court in this town, which must be Douglas, on Monday last. And what happened at the court? We are not told. The Sun is content with reporting that it had taken place. Then we have the Manx Harriers will meet on Tuesday, the 30th of October, at the Union Mills, and on Friday, the 2nd of November, at the 4th milestone on the Laxey Road. After this, the Hollantide Fair is to be held on vacant land to the rear of Hope Street, Douglas, extending to the Brown Bobby. Now, I found this a little curious. I thought the Brown Bobby was named after a famous racehorse, and this happened much later than 1855, but I could be wrong. There are also more dramatic stories. A horse belonging to Mr. T. Smith of the Saddle Inn was being driven attached to a gig by a boy down the North Quay on Sunday last, when it became restive and backed the vehicle and itself over the quay into the harbour, not, however, before the boy made his escape by leaping out of the gig. The tide being up at the time, the horse was drowned. The weather was bad in October 1855, with fierce equinoctial gales coming out of the southwest. The Sun reports that the Mona's Queen had taken 6 hours to get to Douglas from Liverpool in the bad weather, but the storm was at its height when the King Norrie left Liverpool at noon and did not get to Douglas until midnight, with part of her bulwarks carried away. People who sailed with the steam packet in those days had to be hardy folk. Then on page 5 we come to what is headlined General News, a column of items from all over the place. Some are pretty rum, like this one from London. Lord Panmure rises at an early hour and has breakfast at 7 o'clock a.m. At 8 o'clock he proceeds to the War Office, where he is wholly occupied until 4 o'clock p.m., his lordship's dinner hour. What we do not learn is what he had for dinner, or his breakfast for that matter. There are a lot of advertisements for patent medicines in today's paper, with a company in London offering Old Dr. Jacob Townsend's American Sarsaparilla, one of the most extraordinary and reliable medicines in the world. We find letters of testimony from people who have benefited from this stuff, like this one from Mr. William Hyde of London, saying that he had been afflicted with the blind piles for months. Then he began drinking old Dr. Jacob Townsend's American Sarsaparilla, and the accumulated corrupt matter copiously discharged, and I almost immediately obtained relief. I'm not quite sure what blind piles are, but I don't need to know. There's already been too much information. And that's it. We can now put down today's paper, which was the Manx Sun of Saturday, October the 27th, 1855.
Today's paper.